Hello Algebra 1. Today we're going to start doing 5 days of prep for geometry for next year. So we're going to cover 4 main skills over the next 5 days that you will need to know for next year that are very important. So today, our first day, we are going to be talking about solving. This is something we've done a ton of this year, so we'll just review with these 6 problems, and then you're going to go ahead and do these 2 problems for homework tonight and submit them to me so I can give you some feedback. Okay, so let's start with number 1. The first thing we would do in this problem is go ahead and distribute, and that will be a 2x minus 12 equals 18, and then remember we'll divide last, so next we'll have to add our 12 over, and 18 plus 12 is 30, and then our final step would be to divide by 2. And you should get a 15. Okay, so just, some old school solving, nothing too crazy. We will go on to number 2, and notice you'll have variables on both sides here. This will show up a ton in geometry next year. So in general, what I said was always move your smallest variable first. So your smallest variable would be the 2x as opposed to the 9x. And we'll start by just subtracting that 2x on both sides. 9x minus 2x is 7x. All right, and now this problem is just like what we had over in number 1. We want to get the x by itself, so we will subtract the 8 first. And you're welcome to use your calculator as needed. 29 minus 8 is 21. And then finally, we'll go ahead and divide. Oops, sorry, I'm thinking about what the answer is. So divide by 7, and x equals 3. All right, let's make it a little more complicated. Number 3, we still have variables on both sides. However, this time we have a negative 8w. It is our smaller variable since it's negative. To move it, I will have to add 8w to both sides. And notice I'm lining it up underneath the other w because they're like terms. Bring down your 15. 2w plus 8w is 10w equals 45. All right, so now that we only have one variable left, our goal is to get that variable by itself. So we'll start by subtracting our 15 over. $10w equals 45 minus 15 is 30. And final step, divide by your 10. And we'll get w equals 3. All right, hopefully this should look pretty familiar because it is stuff we have done all year. All right, 3 more for us. We're going to make it a little more difficult here. We're going to go ahead, and we're going to distribute in 2 places. 3 times 5y is 15y. 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. Bring down my equal sign. Make sure I distribute over here as well. Negative 2 times 6, negative 12. Negative 2 times negative 2y, careful, positive 4y. Negative times a negative. And then don't forget to bring this y down here. Now, before we start moving variables around, what you should notice is that you do have like terms here. You have 4y plus y. So I'm going to leave this side the same. I'm just going to bring everything down, and I'm going to go ahead and combine those. Negative 12 plus 5y. 4y plus 1y is 5y. Now that I just have everything combined, I can start moving my smaller variable. So my smaller variable in this case is 5y. And to move my 5y over, I will just subtract it. Okay, notice I'm doing this on both sides, and notice that I'm putting my 5y underneath the 15y because those are like terms. So now I'll subtract 15y minus 5y is 10y minus 27 equals negative 12. Okay, remember, goal is to now get the variable by itself. We'll add our 27 over. Always use opposite signs. Bring down my 10y. Negative 12 plus 27, you can use your calculator as needed. That is a 15. Okay, and then final step, divide by 10. 10 doesn't go into 15, so you can either reduce this in Mathfrac, or you could leave it as a decimal because it isn't a repeating decimal or anything like that. So you can either say 1.5 or Mathfrac and say 3/2. Either way is fine. All right, great job. 2 more. Number 5, similar to number 4, let's go ahead and distribute first. And actually, I'll do that first. Okay, 6x plus 6 times 5 is 30. Bring down your plus 2. Bring down your equals. You should also notice you have like terms on this side, so I'm going to take care of those right now. 4x minus x is 3x. Okay, because it's just like you're subtracting a 1. And then you also have like terms on the left, so I'll go ahead and combine those. 30 plus 2 is 32. Okay, so I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. Once you're to this step, now you want to make sure that you move your smaller variable first. So our smaller variable in this case is the 3x. I'll go ahead and subtract it on both sides, lining it up where the other x is. 6x minus 3x is 3x. Bring down my 32. Equals 23. Okay, what are you going to move next? Should be your 32. We'll subtract it. And 23 minus 32 is a negative 9. And final step, divide by 3. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. Okay, lots of 3's for our answer on this. Okay, the last one we're going to go ahead and do together is number 6, and you're going to notice that number 6 is actually a proportion. That's when we have a fraction equal to another fraction. So the way that we go ahead and solve this type of problem is by cross multiplying. We'll do 7 times 5, which is 35, and that equals, and then we'll do the other cross. I'm going to put the 7 in front, and it is actually distributing to the x plus 3. It's multiplying to all of it. Okay, if you want to distribute right away, you can, or you can write it like I did first and then distribute. Okay, and then notice you only have one variable. Okay, so we don't need to get variables together because, I mean, there's only one. So we're moving things away from x. Don't move your 35. Your 35 is already away from the x. We'll subtract our 21 instead. 35 minus 21 is 14. Okay, and then we'll just divide by our 7. 14 divided by 7 is 2. Okay, and there's your answer. All right, so now what you want to do is you have these 2 problems down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tell you what the answer is. But then I would like you to do these 2 problems on a separate sheet of paper. Or if you were able to print this, you can just do it on the sheet that you already took your notes on. And I would like you to send me a picture of these 2 problems. I don't need to see the rest of the notes. I just want to see these 2 problems. And that way I can give you feedback on if you didn't get the right answer or if you made a mistake with your work. Okay, but I'll tell you what the 2 answers are now so you can check them yourself and you know whether you got it right or not. So number 1, you should get an x equals 12. And number 2, you should get an x equals negative 8. All right, so again, I want to see work. If you don't get the correct answer, that's okay. I more care about your work and hopefully you can figure out what you did wrong, but if you can't, then I'll figure it out for you and I'll give you some feedback on your homework. Okay, so do these 2 problems, take a picture, submit it to me, and then look for some feedback. All right, I hope you have a great day. Bye.